The 2021 Fanatec GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS season, started in spectacular fashion yesterday here at Northern California's Sonoma Raceway. K-Pax Racing announced its return to North American competition with a dominant 1-2 finish with its new Lamborghinis, headed by the pairing of Andrea Caldarelli and Jordan Pepper. It was a picture-perfect start for K-Pax, but the rest of the GT World Challenge field has its own ideas for Race 2 today. Hello, my name is Ryan Marine. Amanda Busick will be reporting from the pit lane. Filling in for our friend Calvin Fish this weekend is GT World Challenge Europe analyst John Watson. We'll hear from both of them in just a few minutes, but first, let's take a tour of this 2.5-mile Sonoma Raceway circuit with our Porsche track preview.
Hi, my name is Jan Halen. We're here at Sonoma Raceway with SRO Motorsports for the Porsche track preview. We're getting ready to start the lap, coming onto the front straightaway here, up through the gears, all the way to 6th gear, up to 145 mile an hour. It's the fastest part of the track. Very bumpy, going uphill, braking into turn 2, down to 2nd gear. Car gets very light here on the exit, accelerating out, getting ready for turn 3. Lots of compression at the apex of 3 here, 85 mile an hour, 3rd gear, back to power. Car again getting very light on the exit and hard on the brakes for turn 4. 1st or 2nd gear, accelerating out, getting ready for the carousel, up the hill, very tricky braking. 4th gear, down to 3rd, car again getting light on the brakes, and then preparing for a good exit onto the back straightaway. 3rd, back through the gears, 5th gear, all the way up to 140 mile an hour, and then hard on the brakes for the hairpin, down the 2nd, back to power. Car slides around a ton here, so gotta be careful how to apply the power. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, getting ready for the S's, small lift only, back to power, and ready for the S's. Hard on the brakes here at the 300, lots of dust flying up here, hard on the curbs, back to power, 1st gear, back to power. Sweeping right, flat out, getting ready for the last corner. Tight hairpin, 1st gear, all about getting a good exit here. Good rotation, hard back to power, and back onto the front straightaway, and that was a lap at Sonoma Raceway in the Porsche GT3R.
Not only was yesterday the first race of the GT World Challenge America season, it also started the Fanatec GT World Challenge powered by AWS Global Championship for manufacturers. This year, 6 manufacturers, you see them on the screen, are scoring points across 4 championships in the US, in Europe, in Asia, and Australia, and across all the different class categories within those championships. So, leaving round 1 yesterday, Porsche with the lead, Lamborghini currently 2nd, Mercedes-AMG in the 3rd spot, Ferrari trailing BMW. No Audis on site here this weekend, but we hope to see them again soon. Let's take a look at the highlights. Here is the initial start. Man, it was a wild start. How about that? Rodrigo Salas going 3 wide on the initial green to start the season, but Andrea Caldarelli taking advantage of pole position to pull away and take the lead. This was the first time up the hill in turn 3 and down the hill to 4. Corey Lewis in hot pursuit, but that's about as close as anyone was going to be. Here's trouble a little bit further back. George Kurtz goes around, courtesy of a tap from his teammate David Askew. Battling further back with Michael Dinan and Frank Gannett going side by side on the front straight. Dinan fully in that Turner BMW, had a good run going until something went wrong late. They ultimately finished in 9th. Big moment of the race here. Matt McMurray, after the pit stop, lost the left rear tire in the carousel. That would bring out a full course yellow. Subsequent restart bunched the field back up again. Jordan Pepper had taken over from Andrea Caldarelli and pulled away on the restart. Meanwhile, battled further back around the outside. Ryan Dial gets it done past Dakota Dickerson. That ended up being for 2nd in Pro-Am. This, though, was a huge moment, too, and probably what sent the day going wrong for the Turner car. Never recovered from that contact. Up front, though, it was all K-Pax Racing, a 1-2 finish. Andrea Caldarelli and Jordan Pepper teaming up to take the victory here at Sonoma Raceway. I'd like to bring in John Watson here very briefly as we get ready for the start of this race. It's a beautiful racetrack that you've got some experience on, John.
Hi Ryan, yes I do. Back in 1985, 86 I came here, raced in the IMSA GTP series. But just looking out of the commentary booth window, I noticed that the wind has begun to pick up. Now that's going to be into the cars coming out of pit straight. Not really have a major effect, but it is a change to the circuit.
Front row, K-Pax Racing, Lamborghini, DXDT Racing, Mercedes. Coming around the corner for that green, watching for it. And Aurora Strauss waves in. Problems at the start for the Lamborghini, and it's dropped back from the pole quite a bit. Advantage Colin Brown, he sprints ahead. Another great start as well from Jan Hagelin, jumps up to the second position, but something went wrong for Jordan Pepper, the pole sitter, and the race-winning car from yesterday. He's fallen all the way back to fourth. It bottles up behind. You see Michael Cooper making a move in the Mercedes, the purple-colored Mercedes further back in the field. And how about this aggressive move? Pepper wants that spot back if he can get it from the newcomer, Dakota Dickerson. They remain side by side, headed towards the carousel.
Ryan, I think he was tagged from the back. I'm talking about Jordan Pepper. I think he was tagged from the rear by his own teammate Giovanni Venturini, who was really keen to try and annex Colin Brown and the Mercedes on that split front row grid. So the contact, if we get a replay, we'll probably see the green Lamborghini now making its way ahead of the Acura up into turn 7 of the Herbert. I think it was he who tagged the back of the black Lamborghini, the pole sitter, Jordan Pepper. That's not how I think K-Pax would have expected the start of race 2 here this weekend to have gone.
Darren Law, the team manager, will not like that one bit if that is indeed the case. We did see Pepper and now Venturini able to recover a little bit. Both of them are past Dakota Dickerson in the Racer's Edge Acura, just a little bit behind. And then another Mercedes going at it. Philip Ellis in the Windward Racing car, the non-Evo spec Mercedes-AMG GT3. Moving around behind Ryan Dial, who got bottled up at the start, lost a couple of spots. Had a racy second stint in that race yesterday. On the attack here, trying to make up for lost time after not getting the start to the race he hoped. One lap completed as Colin Brown leading over Jan Hagelin by over 1 second.
Yes, and I think before this race began, I don't think anybody would have predicted what occurred literally at the point where the race got underway. But all the better, because what we saw yesterday was just effectively a domination from the K-Pax Racing Lamborghini, in particular the number 3 car. The number 6 car had to work a little bit harder to get its second position, but there are the lead 2 cars, Jan Hagelin behind the wheel of the Porsche and pushing very hard on the exit coming out of carousel, followed now by Jordan Pepper. Got a certain amount of clear air, and he has now got the focus of how will I catch the Porsche. Catching is one thing. On this difficult to overtake Sonoma Raceway, finding a way around is another thing. Good pass up the inside 63, and that was Ryan Diel used all that experience and knowledge. That was a hard pass, got it done cleanly, and he's taken advantage.
We saw Ryan make a move in that corner around the outside. This time he makes the crossover work up a position, recovering a little bit, lost 2 positions on that opening lap, one of the bigger losers in the field. Bobby Foley of note lost 3 spots in the Turner BMW. He's all the way back to 12th. And Giacomo Altoe, you mentioned him as perhaps starting a bit out of place. Great start for him, up 3 positions, still mired back in 11th, but good progress on the first lap alone. Ellis drops back behind Diao. He's already lost a great deal of ground, and now it's Michael Cooper's turn to make a charge at that Mercedes for Windward Racing just up the road.
So we're on to lap 3, and things, one might say, are settling down, but Michael Cooper pushing very hard indeed, and up into turn 3, then the turn right 3A, then the drop down the hill into turn 4. So we've got a gaggle, and the BMW, the Turner Motorsport BMW, amongst those cars.
Let's take a look at the start. I just got word that the 3 Lamborghini, the pole sitter, might have had a fuel pressure issue coming to the green, and that could have caused its slow acceleration there, John.
Yeah, there was still contact between the two Lamborghinis. There was still contact between the green and the black Lamborghini. Whatever the cause, maybe something did momentarily because the number 3, the pole sitting car, up between Jordan Pepper. Whatever it was, there was, in my opinion, looking at the pictures there, contact. So we'll maybe find out a little bit more once the drivers in this opening stint have their chance to come into pits and hand over to their teammates.
We've got Ryan Dial chasing Dakota Dickerson, but it's Dakota Dickerson of all drivers to this point at our Race Vision powered by AWS, of all the Pro-Am drivers, with the fastest corner speed in turn 6. That's that carousel. That's a high commitment corner. If you're carrying a lot of speed through there, you've got confidence in your race car, right, John?
Yes, indeed. But what also you might point out is the reason, or part of the reason why he's the quickest of the Pro-Am drivers in turn 6 is because he's got right behind him Ryan Dial, who's the second quickest in the carousel. So these two are pushing one another along. Ryan Dial takes a very early line, hugs almost the whole middle or inside of the corner to try and find the bite. Now he is looking for bite from the front right tyre to enable him to hold that nose. And look how much he's closed down in that sort of sequence of 2 corners. He is closed down very quickly indeed now onto the tail of Dickerson in the Acura NSX.
We've seen Dial very strong in that 7-7A complex. They came through a moment ago, made some passes there early in the race, passed to Dakota Dickerson there around the outside in the race yesterday. Here through the chicane, needs to get the power down nicely. Now the right-handed bend of turn 10. The run into turn 11. Heavy braking zone. Late passing opportunity if you're close enough. Dial does not think he stays line astern and tucks back in behind Dickerson in that Acura. But a nip and tuck battle between these two, and a repeat, like I said, of what we saw yesterday.
Well, these two hard at it, and coming across start-finish line up into turn 1, then through into 2. The Acura and the Mercedes look absolutely planted as they come out, and then the short shoot, then the compression into turn 3, then quickly back to the right through turn 3A. Car gets slide over the top as we go back to the battle going on further down the field, and looking at the BMW, which is currently in 12th place, fighting with Kazarov in the Lamborghini.
That's right, Foley at the wheel of the Turner BMW, chasing the Reardon Lamborghini of Vesko Kazarov. It was a difficult start for Foley, dropped about 3 positions there on the opening lap, but he's gathered it back up and is trying to recover. He'll be turning it over to Michael Dinan. This is one of the all-pro entries in this field, chasing down the Pro-Am entry of Kazarov, who shares that car with Jeff Burton. Up front, Colin Brown leads Jan Halen by 2.5 seconds. Jordan Pepper running third, but closing in his K-Pax Racing Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo. Just over 15 minutes into this race, and it's starting to find a bit of a rhythm after what was an unpredictable start, to say the least. Watching this BMW M6 GT3 down on our Race Vision yesterday, we saw that this BMW very fast in a straight line. That's where it was having some success relative to the competition.
Indeed it was, and for a car that has been around for a number of years, it is still in a very effective race car. Again, part of this SRO Stefan Rotell organization policy of balance of performance. As we look at the Ferrari, the only AM entry in this field, also trying to get around the Aston Martin in 13th place. But the BMW, to go back to it, there we see it again right behind on the rear wing of the Lamborghini, up through turn 1 into turn 2. Kazarov knows he's got a fight in his hands. Bobby Foley clearly looking to find a way past. The car we know has got good straight line performance. It's not bad on a corner either. And one would assume, I would assume, that it's not going to be if, but more when Foley finds a way around the 91 Lamborghini.
Foley, of the two, is the more experienced in GT3 cars. I don't believe Vesko had sat in one of these Lamborghinis until arriving maybe at a test, or perhaps even here this weekend. So it's been a learning curve, to say the least, but he's an experienced pro, raced in a number of different series, lots of different cars over the years, and he won't be rattled by that big old M6 in the rear view mirror. 1:11 left on the clock, just a shade under 1:12 as a matter of fact. Brown, his lead continues to grow, 2.7 seconds now over Van Halen. Jordan Pepper runs third. Giovanni Venturini is in fourth as it stands. And the window has opened just 15 seconds ago. These two cars missed the chance to come in, if that's even what they wanted to do, by just a handful of seconds. You cannot come before it reads 50 seconds on the clock. Actually, 49:59 is technically when it opens, and it extends for 10 minutes. So when it reads 40:00, that window is closed. You must be in the pit lane by that time in order for the pit stop to count towards the mandatory pit stop that is required of all teams. If you don't, you have a drive-through penalty. But these teams are well aware of that. They should not run afoul of that rule.
Ryan, you asked me a question a minute ago, which of the two Lamborghinis will be in first. I've made a decision. Whether I'm right or wrong, I've still made the decision. And looking at the way the number 3 Lamborghini Jordan Pepper going through turn 4, that car, the rear end, did not look stable. I suspect it will be the black number 3 Lamborghini of Jordan Pepper who will be the first of the two K-Pax cars in, and that will free up Giovanni Venturini, and he will have clearer air to try and get on terms with the second place Porsche, and then see if that's possible to move forward and have a look at the Mercedes. But I think it'll be the number 3 will be the first of the K-Pax Lamborghinis, and I'm right! I'm right! What a genius.
John Watson knows what he's talking about, folks. When he speaks, we listen. And right on the money, K-Pax to pit lane with its first car, its leading car. We'll see what they can do on this stop. Keep in mind, it's Jordan Pepper handing over to Andrea Caldarelli, who was lightning fast yesterday. One of the fastest men on the planet in a GT3 car, possibly the fastest in a Lamborghini. Crucial pit stops
this car has not really looked the car we saw yesterday. Don't know why, whether are different, whether Jordan Pepper just didn't feel the same degree of effort. We'll see when Andrea Caldarelli gets behind the wheel. That car's quickest lap, I'm just looking down to see timing and what Jordan Pepper's quickest lap was a 140.1 against the best lap of the race is a 138.3. So that's way off where I would have expected the number 3 winning. So Andrea Caldarelli floors it and will just break the beam and then exit precisely. And we need to keep an eye on his lap times. His out lap, of course, will be a lap taking into account the pit stop. It will be his first flying lap on a fresh set of tyres. Expect something spectacular from the Italian in the number 3 Lamborghini.
And he has the benefit of tire wear, which is something very uncommon on this side of the pond, very common in road racing in Europe, but that rule came in a couple of years ago. And here comes the second K-Pax Lamborghini. What do you make of this strategy move?
I think it's the correct move by the team. They're going to come in. The pit lane is relatively empty. There's maybe one other car or two other cars. So they can get their driver changed, tire changed, refueling, all done, get back out again, and let this battle for the lead go on between these two pro drivers in their Pro-Am category. Jan Halen really doing an excellent job now, less than half a second behind the lead Mercedes. The first time Colin Brown has felt really any pressure, other than at the moment when this race did go green. So Rini out, Corey Lewis will be in behind the number 6 Lamborghini. It'll not be very long before we would anticipate seeing Andrea Caldarelli conclude. There he is, to the conclusion, at least 3/4 of the way around, coming down to the chicane. He will be pushing to the limit, even though the tyres have been in warmers. Still takes that outlap to get the tyre, the pressure, the temperature up into that operating window. Caldarelli, there is the Lamborghini, the 6 Lamborghini, so it has to creep down the pit lane 50 kilometers per hour. You feel you could get out and push the car more quickly than doing 50 kilometers per hour. He's still away from the demarcation line that says, nail it, my son. And where's Andrea? Where's the black Lamborghini? There it is! He's gone through, he's got ahead of his sister car.
Advantage to Caldarelli in the number 3. K-Pax Racing with their strategy call keeps the order the same for now, and perhaps an adjustment or two. And that Lamborghini might be a little bit more to their liking, to the driver's liking, because to your point, John, it did not look towards the end of Jordan Pepper's stint that he was terribly happy with that car. Some other pit callers here. This is a Lamborghini as well, Reardon Racing. I think Vesko Kozarov getting out, Jeff Burton getting in. This is the battle for the overall lead, the Pro-Am lead as well. The pros hanging in these cars as long as they can, but that window is about to come closed. And I do believe that these teams are setting up to bring their drivers in for the pit stops. So all eyes on the pit lane here. While I have a moment, did want to note that the K-Pax Racing pit stops were nearly picture perfect, just a fraction of a second in both cases over the minimum delta, which is right where you want to be. Vesko Kozarov has finally given way to Jeff Burton. They have returned to the track, but they sat in the pit lane for 3 minutes and 21 seconds. Very costly indeed. And here come the overall leaders now. Colin Brown and Jan Halen, DXDT versus Wright Motorsports in the pit lane. It'll be coming there shortly. Just up ahead, you see the Compass Racing car also making a return to the pit lane for the second time after an unscheduled stop earlier. Waiting for these cars to make their way to their respective crews. Not much gap between the two. They've got this one bend to negotiate before they reach their side of the pit lane. And there comes Jan Halen. He'll be giving over to Fred Pordat. And we've got Colin Brown set to give way to George Kurtz, and Amanda is there.
Well, as you guys see, the CrowdStrike Mercedes has made its way into the pits. We talked to George Kurtz ahead of this driver change, and he saw how crucial this would be. But 3 major things are going to happen during this pit stop, guys. The driver change, of course. 4 new Pirelli Swicks are going to go on that Mercedes AMG, and the refuel. The minimum 87 seconds happens on this pit stop. Teams like to hit that mark as close as possible.
Not as close as you can, but you can't go under. That's where the penalties happen. This is the crucial car to watch. Can K-Pax cycle to the lead through these pit stops by short pitting? The K-Pax car, Andrea Caldarelli behind the wheel, coming around. Not sure where the other 2 Pro-Am cars were. There they are just leaving. So K-Pax pulling out a quick one in the pit lane, John, and they jump from 3rd and 4th to 1st and 2nd.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And in fact, looking at Andrea Caldarelli, he has set a very, very quick lap. Well, his last laps have been all in the middle to high, 1 minute and 38 seconds. So this is what I expect from Andrea Caldarelli. He is in the car. He's maxing the car's performance. He is now effectively the lead because we're still waiting for the number 4 Mercedes to cycle through, and that will then fall back behind. I believe certainly the one of the 2 K-Pax, and most likely the second with Corey Lewis behind the wheel of the number 6. But Andrea Caldarelli doing what Andrea Caldarelli, we know in memoriam, just goes quick in that Lamborghini.
With the advantage of fresh tires and clean track, while the 2 Pro-Am cars battled amongst themselves on older tires. They lost lap time while doing that. That allowed K-Pax to jump to the front. George Kurtz now installed in the 04 car. And it's time to see what he's made of. He's going to have a lot of pressure from the reigning AM champion in this championship, Fred Pordat.
Well, the gap between the Mercedes and the Porsche has clearly extended as a consequence of the pit stops that they've both made. Interesting to see whether Pordat can run down George Kurtz. George Kurtz, I thought, did an outstanding job yesterday until the tag, but also the TC event earlier in the day. So there is the Lamborghini.
And it is a K-Pax Racing 1-2 at the front of this field following the pit stops. Andrea Caldarelli is showing the way. Oh, and a problem here for the 63 car. That's David Askew, I believe, has taken over from Ryan Diao. Ryan gave that car a very good run early, and there is some serious damage to the left front, yes. Let's take a look at this.
I don't know, has a wheel has come off or looking to find the car. That is the Aston Martin we're looking at. There's the Okay, it's reversing back onto the racetrack. What happened up at the exit of turn 7? But certainly you can see a lot of left front bodywork damage to the 63 Mercedes, and that's going to be another visit into the pit lane.
Top speeds at overall top speed, courtesy of Race Vision, powered by AWS. Michael Dynan in the BMW at the front of that shot, trying not to go a lap down to the overall leader, Andrea Caldarelli. Dynan taking a lead forward, who started this race. Just up the road from Dynan is Ziad Gondor, doing a great job at the TR3 Racing Lamborghini. He had a crash on the opening lap yesterday, did not complete a lap, and has bounced back nicely. Here comes the Lamborghini to the inside of the BMW to put him a lap down. That was a little bit closer than you'd like to see, right? If you're a leader coming through the lap traffic.
That's always going to be the difficulty when you come into the lap traffic and down into turn 4. It's a downhill break. BMW may not have been aware that Caldarelli had committed, but he did see the Lamborghini up the inside. He gave Caldarelli working room. That was good driving from Dynan. So again, different categories. They're not on the same battle. Let the Lamborghini go. Of course, no driver wants to go a lap down in a race if you can avoid it, but different categories, different day, and all you can do is just continue doing the best you can for your team. Currently, Dynan is a pro, actually he is in the pro car as well, I should say. The BMW is at one of the 4 pro entries, but down in 9th place.
And Michael Dynan doesn't have the experience of a lot of the pros, especially in the Lamborghini lineups. This is his first season racing in GT3 cars, as we see Gondor pull off and into the pit lane. So something wrong with that TR3 car, just as we were commenting on how nice it was to see that they were having a good run after the difficulties yesterday. A drive-through penalty for a pit lane violation. As we were away, we've seen now Erin Vogel run down Taylor Hagler. We talked about Taylor making her GT3 debut. Same for Erin in this championship. Driving for DXDT Racing in the red and purple Mercedes towards the back there. That's the one. And she has run down Taylor Hagler, who I have to believe is being held up a moment by a DXDT Racing car, David Askew. I'm not going to say anything's being done untoward here, but if David can run his line and Taylor can't find a way by, and that happens to help Erin catch up, I think everyone at DXTT Racing would be all right with that.
Well, guys, it is called motor racing. It's not driving a race car around a racetrack. So we are here racing. And David Askew is doing his bit and doing as best he can to keep the Acura behind him. But it'll be interesting to see the outcome of this battle between Vogel in the second of the Mercedes and the Acura, because it is going to be Taylor Hagler. She is effectively the meat in the Mercedes-Benz sandwich, looking to go down the outside coming into the chicane. She, well, is never the best line to take because you're going to be slightly compromised, and that could have given Vogel an opportunity to move down the inside, but things have remained status quo. Now Askew's going defensive coming down into turn 11. No, he's gone wide. He's let them, I think he will let certainly the Acura get through. Now, whether that was intentional or not, I'm not sure, but I suspect it may have been, let's let the quicker car go through, and now it'll be a question of whether Vogel will also be given the opportunity. Erin Vogel in the purple and red Mercedes, she will look for the same kind of opportunity that was given to Taylor Hagler.
And you'd think it would be coming. That is her team owner just up the road ahead of her. It's not stopping her from flashing those headlights, though. Drivers like to do that to make sure the car in front of them knows that they're there, but do you think it really makes much of a difference?
What you want to do is get in the head of the driver of the car ahead of you. You want to move your car around, force the driver to keep looking in the door mirrors on either side of the mirror, up the inside into carousel. So Erin Vogel has done a very good job, assisted by David Askew by staying a car width and a bit wide in the carousel. So that was a nicely orchestrated pass. Neither car effectively lost anything in terms of lap times, but Erin Vogel has got through, and then she will be able to continue her pursuit. of the 93 Acura, Taylor Hagler, who hoped to maybe make or stretch that advantage fractionally. Well, she has done so, but I think that Mercedes' Erin Vogel is going to be on the tail of the Acura probably within the next lap, maybe 2 laps.
Keep a close eye on that as Erin gets closer to Taylor. That is the final podium spot in the Pro-Am class up for grabs. One of the best battles on the track at the moment. Andrea Caldarelli leads to the tune of 7.8 seconds. Erin Vogel a year ago teamed with Michael Cooper. You see him there watching on. They raced in Pirelli GT4 America in the Sprint X category in a McLaren 570S GT4. A big switch, not just from GT4 to GT3, but the McLaren, a very different platform than the Mercedes. It would have been a bit more straightforward theoretically, moving to something like the Acura. That mid-engine layout is definitely different than what the Mercedes has in store, but Erin's been a quick study and looking very strong. She's been closing in.
Yes, and again, overall of the cars, the Acura is a great race car. The Mercedes is arguably the car that is the more, we call it easy for either an experienced or a lesser experienced competitor to adapt to and get to the car's maximum performance window. Erin Vogel has closed down yet again as the cars exit out of turn 7A and begin the return leg all the way down to the chicane. So the gap on the previous lap was 0.6 of a second, and it's, I suppose you might say, if it's 1/10 of a second or less, that's about the maximum. So great defense from Taylor Hagler, great attack from Vogel to see whether either of these two cars can actually get any closer.
These two are putting on a great show for us. They've got 15 minutes still to settle it. The final step of the Pro-Am podium up for grabs, and it's Taylor Hagler who holds it for the moment over Erin Vogel. Andrea Caldarelli continues to lead over his teammate Corey Lewis by 7.7 seconds, but this battle rages on. Top speeds overall in the Pro-Am class, so overall around the track, Pro-Am class cars, and Taylor Hagler at the top of that list, 137.9 miles per hour. Let's go down to pit lane. Amanda has an update for us.
Well, as we've been talking about, it is Taylor Hagler's rookie debut. Therefore, early seat time for the rookie has snuck by Racer's Edge to see if they're talking her through this defense. They told me that yes, they are. Actually, her coach, Ryan Eversley, he races in the Pirelli GT4 class. He is in her ear currently, as well as Chief Engineer Jim Patton. They are pulling back a little bit and let Taylor do her thing, but she is being coached through this moment.
Ryan Eversley, part of the HPD GT3 Driver Academy in the coaching role. So he's been working with them for a while, and around goes Vogel in that pursuit.
Yes, that was an error on the exit of turn 7A, and that will be a relief for Taylor Hagler to know that the Mercedes is now, momentarily anyway, out of contention.
Russell Ward in the Windward Racing car coming back up through the field. Two different generations of this Mercedes-AMG GT3, the Evo in front and the older version behind. Both very competent, as we're seeing. Interesting to see that the Windward team, John, electing to run the older generation car.
Well, maybe in the opening rounds it's use what we know and then move forward with the people. Interestingly, that Erin, now she's under pressure from the 33 Mercedes, but I wasn't convinced that she was committed to letting the Lamborghini go through in turn 4. And I think, likewise, Corey Lewis found himself in a position where he had a heart-in-the-mouth moment, thinking, oh, is the Mercedes going to give me the ground or give me the contact? Fortunately, space was given, provided, but Erin Vogel, I don't think gave it up too happily.
No, certainly not. She's going to fight this one to the bitter end for sure, trying to fend off Russell Ward for 4th in the Pro-Am class. Andrea Caldarelli leads Corey Lewis. The gap now 6.7 seconds. George Kurtz, 3rd overall, leading in the Pro-Am class. Fred Pordat runs second in Pro-Am with Taylor Hagler third. This is still the best battle on the track. It rages on as the white flag comes out. We're on the final lap here. Aaron Vogel, Russell Ward. Russell has been very strong here. Vogel, commensurate in her defense. And runs a little bit wide there. This is about as close as we've seen Ward through this part of the track. Can he get that run through the carousel?
Well, he can't get it done on the entry to the carousel. His car looked the less stable of the two Mercedes a couple of laps ago on the exit. So what he is going to try and do is get a run up this slight incline up into turn 7 and 7A, but not close enough. I mean, he runs up onto the rear wing almost as we go back to our race leader.
2 more chances for him to try and make that move. The chicane, and then the corner that Andrea Caldarelli is coming up towards right here. The hairpin of turn number 11. What a return to SRO America competition it has been for K-Pax Racing for the second straight day. The number 3 Lamborghini Huracan GT3, Andrea Caldarelli and Jordan Pepper pick up the win, sweeping the weekend at Sonoma Raceway. And for the second straight day, second place goes to Corey Lewis and Giovanni Venturini. The battle here, Ward got to the inside and gets the job done, but Vogel coming back to the inside. This is for 4th in Pro-Am. At the line, photo finish, Aaron Vogel holds off Russell Ward and will take home a hard-fought 4th in the Pro-Am class. Winner in Pro-Am right here. George Kurtz still has not taken the checkered flag. A little less drama in his run to the checkers, John.
Yes, he's had a very nice run, and all courtesy of Colin Brown at the start when there was confusion. I don't know what happened to Jordan Pepper. We still wait for further explanation, and the contact that we did note immediately it occurred in the green Lamborghini tagged the back of the black one. It was almost about to go, I can't even think of the word I want to use. It could have been very bad indeed, but fortunately it all tidied up, and this car has been outstanding, and both drivers have done an outstanding job in the Pro-Am category.
They were second in the Pro-Am Championship last year. A win will be very helpful for them in pursuit of that coveted championship. Congratulations to Colin Brown and George Kurtz for DXDT Racing, winners in Pro-Am in race 2 of the season for GT World Challenge America. K-Pax Racing in victory lane on home turf. This crew, this team, based right here at Sonoma Raceway. As we take a look at the unofficial race results, Jordan Pepper and Andrea Caldarelli take the overall win, holding off their teammates for the second straight day, Corey Lewis and Giovanni Venturini. George Kurtz, Colin Brown, the winners in Pro-Am, also on the overall podium. Fred Pordat and Ian Halen, a winner yesterday, second in Pro-Am today. Dakota Dickerson, Taylor Hagler, their first podiums in GT World Challenge America. Aaron Vogel did win out in that duel with Russell Ward. I must say, it was actually not a class battle after all. It was a Pro-Am car in Vogel holding off a Pro car in Ward. So Vogel and Cooper 4th in Pro-Am, Ward and Ellis 3rd in Pro. And of course, our winner in the AM category, the lone entry this weekend, but we expect more in the future. The AF Corsa car, JC Sada, Conrad Grunwald, overcoming a heavy accident earlier in the weekend. Why don't we go down to pit lane and hear from some of our winners with Amanda Busick.
Oh, and you talk about dominance here to open up the weekend in the Fanatec GT World Challenge powered by AWS here season. And Jordan, I'm going to start with you. When you look at this dominance, what does that tell your competitors?
Yeah, obviously it just shows that the team's obviously done their homework. You know, it was quite a late deal switching to Lamborghini, but incredible effort by the whole Lamborghini Squadra Corsa to supply the team not only with amazing drivers to drive with, but obviously a brilliant car that was faultless from the get-go. The first time we put it down for testing, it was just going like a bullet, and we shone. So hopefully it gets a bit more challenging. Obviously that race already, it just shows that the competitors are right there, you know, but we just executed strategy, everything, undercut them when we could with the new tires, like I said, and just Andrea brought it home, which is awesome.
And as George just said, Andrea, you brought it home and saw the checkered Friday here in SRO America for the first time. Describe that moment.
Yeah, obviously it's a really nice moment. We just had a chat before the start of the race, and you asked me how was to bring back the car and the checkered flag, and it feels great. I think it's all the team deserved 1-2, and today it's a great day to celebrate as Jordan say, all the team effort. So that was good.
Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
Great performance from both drivers, as we saw Andrea Caldarelli and Jordan Pepper sweep the weekend. Here are your manufacturers' points coming out of this weekend. Mercedes-AMG holding down the top spot. Porsche and Lamborghini second and third. BMW, Ferrari, fourth and fifth. These are the GT World Challenge points as well, leaving this weekend at Sonoma Raceway. Back to Victory Circle and Amanda.
Well, there's a lot of people that had a great weekend here in Sonoma, but I'm not sure someone had a better weekend than George Kurtz. And when you think of what you were able to accomplish here in Sonoma, what will be your highlight?
Well, first I got to thank CrowdStrike, DXDT, and this guy right here. Just tremendous weekend. You know, we had some adversity yesterday, but we knew we had the pace, and we put the time and effort in, and we got it done.
Colin, after the miscue of yesterday, how satisfying is it to bounce back from that?
It's great. I mean, obviously George has been really fast here all weekend, picking up both GTA wins, and you know, we had good pace all weekend. So we had that incident in yesterday's race and just kind of knew what it was, put it behind us. You know, we had some damage to the car early on, and you know, we knew we were going to have a good, strong showing today. These guys have been doing a great job getting it fixed up every night, and we keep going fast. So a lot of fun to drive this CrowdStrike car. Cool to get a win in a lot of stuff for kind of a home race for us. So pretty proud.
And thank you, Ross.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Smiles all around from the DXTT racing team. A big bounce back from that squad after very disappointing results, quite frankly, from race number one. Here's the Pro-Am points. Red Portad Van Halen lead by virtue of their win and second place on the weekend. But Colin Brown, George Kurtz, they're up to second thanks to a strong win here today. Dakota Dickerson, Taylor Hagler fall third. David Askew, Ryan Dial fourth, while Aaron Vogel and Michael Cooper are fifth in the Pro-Am standings.
And standing by, I have Jean-Claude Sada, who led the effort in Ferrari. And just to get this car back onto track was a big effort for you guys. How pleased are you with this team?
Oh, the team, they're second to none. Of course, I did a magnificent job putting that car back together after our incident. And they spent all night long till 3 in the morning working on it. And we are deeply, deeply grateful to all the guys who did this. It's been a team effort all the way through the weekend. We did very little, Conrad and I. They did most of the work. So thank you, of course.
And Colin, I am hearing that you guys are going to debut a new Ferrari in COTA. How will that help your effort?
Well, I mean, a new car is a new car. We're really looking forward to it. There's nothing wrong with this car. It's in great shape. They did a great job prepping it, but we are looking forward to having some new machinery in COTA.
Congratulations to the AM champions.
JC Simon, Conrad Grunwald, bringing that car home after a difficult start to the weekend. Drivers' Championship in the Pro category, as you'd expect after sweeping the weekend. Andrea Caldarelli and Jordan Pepper hold the top spot by 14 tallies over Corey Lewis and Giovanni Venturini. Michael Dine and Robbie Foley, they're slotted in third. And especially after the setback yesterday for Philip Ellis and Russell Ward, an alternator issue really scuppered their race. They've got some ground to make up, but still plenty of races to do it. And John, you can't let a difficult start to the season dictate the way the rest of the season plays out.
No, this is now in the record book. It's history. The lessons you learn are go away, analyze what you did from the minute you arrived, before practice and qualifying, the 2 races, and look at it and learn from it, and whatever alterations or changes need to be made within the team or within how your drivers approach and prepare for either qualifying or the race. A lot to be learned.
Well, it's been a fun weekend here in Sonoma. Big thank you to John Watson for pinch hitting on short notice when our pal Calvin Fish came down with some kidney stones. Quick recovery to you, Cal. We'll see you in Circuit of the Americas along with Amanda Busick. Big thanks to our whole production team. Thanks to you as well for tuning in. So long from Sonoma.